Blessings, Sam. This is Noemi with BG2G, and I want to share a story about discontented children. And so, I had a situation in the early my early parenting days where so I had like certain routines. I was on state welfare, so I was rich in the beginning of the month, and so normally it was in once a month kind of thing that I could get toys and things like that. And I basically ran into a situation where it seemed that my kids were like, "This is boring. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do." And I'm like, "Why don't you play with this?" They're like, "That's dumb. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness. Like I don't have money to um get them what they want. And, you know, it seemed that every little thing, they just liked it for a little bit and then it was like done. Like it was dumb. And so I came up with this amazing idea. I basically was like, all right, all these toys don't mean nothing, right? They're dumb. Let's put them in storage. They're like, fine, they're like, fine. So I put all of their toys in storage. The only things that I left were things that required their imagination. So, blocks, Legos type sets, blocks type sets. Um, they had like I think it was like 150 little matchbox little cars because when you have a lot of those little and colorful things, that can be a creative thing. I left their books. Reading is good for the brain. Um, and I want to say, but everything else, their stuffed animals, the games, everything we packed up and we took down to the storage. Now, at the time, the way the storage was is it was like a condominium type building, kind of like townhouses a little bit, and we lived on one side and the storage happened to be in the basement of the other end, so we actually had to like lug everything to the back, walk down the stairs, walk across to the other side of the building, go up the stairs, and then in, and then down their basement to our storage. um our side did not have a basement. So, and I put everything. Like the house was so clean. I remember it was just like there's no toys, there's like nothing. The only thing was blocks. I want to say I took the balls as well. No, I think I left the balls. Balls are good. They could sit, they could bounce, whatever. And at first, it was a little challenging. I would say for like 2, 3 days because they were like, "There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. Mommy, play with me." Like they wanted me to be their toy and entertainment. And I'm like, they're like jumping all over me. I was like a jungle gym. I was always very physical with my kids as far as like roughhousing, roughing them up and playing with them. So it was very natural for them to be climbing all over me like, "Mommy, let me sit on your shoulders." And it was, "Let's play hide and seek." Fine, let's play hide and seek. It's amazing how many places you can hide in a two-bedroom, one floor apartment. But we managed. And the thing was is they got creative, and the rule then was that once a week at the end of the week we would be able to go to the storage and get one toy, only one. And um that's what we did. So I would go be like, "All right, it's time to check out the storage. You guys are bored, right?" So we roughed it out that first week, and then we go. And I take them to the storage, and it was like Christmas. Um, they'd have this nostalgia, like, "Oh, look at my teddy! Look at my tiger! Care Bears! Oh, mommy, can I have two?" And I'm like, "No, nope, only one." And I'm trying to be strong because the whole point, literally, was to teach my kids a lesson to appreciate what they have. And I honestly, I was I was like 19 years old. I have no clue where this wisdom came from apart from God was helping me raise these kids, and it was just such a beautiful example. Like, I never had a problem with my kids being discontent, and there were times where it's like, do I need to get rid of all the toys? No, mom, no, no, please don't do it. And it's like, okay, but we did. I want to say it was like a 2-month lesson before we actually kind of brought in more toys, and I was like, all right, go ahead, grab some more, more than one kind of thing. But I proved my point, and I didn't have to buy anything new. I literally just locked up there, and it was a little rough, but it was so worth it because it broke out whatever phase my kids were getting into. It just broke it. It just broke it. I think we error when we see that kids are discontent and we fall into the commercialized mentality of, I got to get them more, I got to get them more expensive things, I got to get them more. My kids just aren't satisfied with status quo, so now I got to up my game. And I literally, like, I couldn't up my game. And so I had to creatively, you know, downgrade. In essence, I upped the game because I encouraged them to be more creative with what they have. By me allowing those, it wasn't about finding the toy that keeps them entertained, but it was about encouraging their brain to creatively problem solve ways to keep themselves entertained. And I think that is like the difference between, like, give somebody who's starving, give them a fish and they'll eat a day, or teach them how to fish and they will eat, for a lifetime. Like, they'll have food for a lifetime because now you're teaching them this survival technique. On It's not things that entertain you, but it's your own ability to problem solve and to think creatively and find ways to entertain yourself, and value the process. Like, I didn't condemn and punish my kids for the fact that I got rid of the toys. Like, it was my choice. And when they were struggling with boredom, it was like, I know it sucks, but what can you do about it? What can you do about it? I put the responsibility on them to problem solve. And if they were like, well, mommy, will you play hide and seek? Then, I had to be like, okay, let's go. Let's play hide and seek. We did this whole, like, hand thing, yeah, whatever. And it's like, okay, come up with something new, like, and we were problem solving creatively. What can we do? Games with our hands. We did the whole, thumb war thing and play with the blocks, build something. What can you build with the blocks? What can you build with the cars? Do something. Yep, be creative, and that, I think, is so much more of a survival skill that is lacking in our commercialized society. Um, we buy There's so many toys, and yes, they're amazing and all these games, but if we depend on things to provide all the entertainment that we need, we actually don't develop the creativity. Um, the imagination of creating our own kind of you know just our creative muscle basically. So those are my thoughts. Blessings, fam.